In today's culture, much is made of rational thinking. But what does it really mean to think rationally? Are there fundamental rules that govern reasoning? And if so, where did they come from? This question places us at the very origin and outset of philosophy, where certain penetrating thinkers sought after principles which could regulate not only behavior, but thought itself. These philosophers arrived at three foundational axioms: the laws of thought. Also known as the laws of logic, they are the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, and the law of the excluded middle. The law of identity simply states that a thing is what it is, although it has 100 different implications. On the one hand, it means a tree is what a tree is, but on the other, it means that a tree stays what it is, unless acted on by something else. This might seem obvious, but it serves as the foundation for both logical consistency and object permanence. If things could suddenly cease to be what they are, or fail to be such, then all meaningful discourse would collapse. The second principle, the law of non-contradiction, holds that a proposition cannot be both true and false at the same time. If a statement like "it is raining" is true, then "it is not raining" cannot also be true in the same sense at the same time. This law ensures that thought remains structured and that contradictions do not undermine logical coherence. Lastly, we have the law of the excluded middle, which states that, for any proposition, either it is true or its negation is true. There is no middle ground between truth and falsehood. Something either is or is not. This principle forms the basis for classical logic and binary reasoning, ensuring that every statement must ultimately resolve into either affirmation or denial. These principles are so fundamental that without them, coherent reasoning and communication would be impossible. They underpin mathematics, science, and even ordinary decision-making. If the law of non-contradiction did not hold, a scientist could both confirm and refute a hypothesis at the same time. If the law of the excluded middle did not apply, then uncertainty would be absolute, making definitive conclusions impossible. Even in everyday life, we assume these laws when interpreting information and navigating our world. Nonetheless, some philosophers and logicians have sought to question these principles and their basis. Paraconsistent logic explores ways to handle contradictions without collapsing them into absurdity or falsehood. Quantum mechanics, with its wave-particle duality and superposition, raise questions about whether classical logic is sufficient to characterize the nature of reality. Some have even argued that the laws of thought are not universal, but simply reflect the way human cognition structures the world. Yet, despite these challenges, these laws remain the backbone of rational inquiry. Without them, the distinction between truth and falsehood would blur and become unrecognizable, making knowledge itself impossible. If thinking is to mean anything or serve any purpose at all, then it must have a stable structure, and that structure begins and ends with the laws of logic.